Imagine this. At this very moment, you hold the power to transform your life's greatest challenges into your most profound victories. But how, you might ask? Today, we dive deep into the heart of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has empowered individuals for centuries to thrive in adversity and find serenity amidst chaos. Think about the last time you faced a situation that tested your patience or shook your confidence. How did you respond? Were you a prisoner to your immediate reactions, or did you choose a response that reflected your deeper values and convictions? This is where Stoicism shines, guiding us to respond to life's challenges with courage, wisdom, and equanimity. Today, we're exploring a powerful concept rooted in ancient wisdom yet strikingly relevant to modern life: the art of training your mind to respond, not react. This isn't just about controlling your temper or staying calm in tough moments. It's about cultivating a deep sense of awareness, a grounding in the present moment that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and intention. The Stoics, practical philosophers of the ancient world, had much to say about this. They believed that while we might not control the events that happen to us, we do control how we interpret and respond to those events. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control, encouraging a detachment from external circumstances and an anchoring in our own reason and choices. This wisdom invites us to pause, reflect, and act deliberately rather than impulsively. Why does this matter? Because so much of our stress, regret, and frustration stems from knee-jerk reactions to what others say or do. Now imagine if, instead, you could remain calm, centered, and thoughtful, even when the world around you is anything but. This shift isn't just about achieving peace of mind. It's about becoming a more effective, compassionate, and resilient person, qualities that can transform your life and the lives of those around you. In our conversation today, we'll explore practical strategies from both modern psychology and Stoic philosophy to help you develop this responsive mindset. We'll examine how to cultivate mindfulness, the importance of identifying and expressing emotions constructively, and how to keep the bigger picture in mind, a perspective the Stoics mastered. By the end of this discussion, you'll have a toolkit of strategies to help you pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully to whatever life throws your way. So let's embark on this journey together, learning to anchor ourselves in the wisdom of Stoicism and the power of our own minds to choose our responses. In doing so, we transform not just our experiences, but our interactions, our relationships, and ultimately, our lives. And action is deliberate, echoing the profound teachings of Stoicism. The Stoics, those venerable sages of ancient Greece and Rome, held a view of life that remains remarkably relevant to our fast-paced modern world. They emphasize the value of mastering one's emotions and reactions, teaching that true power lies in our ability to choose our response to any given situation. But why is it so vital to cultivate a response rather than succumb to knee-jerk reactions? Imagine you're in a tense meeting or facing a personal challenge. The default human behavior is often to react instinctively, driven by the immediate surge of emotion. While this reaction is natural, it's rarely in our best interest. In fact, it often escalates conflicts, damages relationships, and leads to decisions we later regret. This is where Stoic wisdom shines. The Stoics believed in living according to nature and reason, advocating for a life where every action is guided by virtue and rational thought. By embracing this philosophy, we learn to observe our initial impulses, examine them through a rational lens, and choose a course of action that aligns with our values and long-term goals. Responding rather than reacting means taking a moment to pause when faced with a triggering event. It's about stepping back to observe not only the external situation, but also your internal response. This reflective pause enables you to weigh different outcomes and choose one that is reasoned, balanced, and within your control. Importantly, practicing the Stoic approach doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. Instead, it means acknowledging them, understanding their origins, and then deciding if and how they should influence your actions. This method empowers you to engage with the world in a way that preserves your inner peace and integrity, regardless of external circumstances. But the value of responding over reacting goes beyond personal serenity. It enhances your relationships, strengthens your leadership, and deepens your resilience in adversity. When you respond thoughtfully, you demonstrate respect, empathy, and understanding, qualities that lead to more meaningful, constructive interactions. Embarking on the journey to train the mind to respond, rather than react, requires more than good intentions. It calls for deliberate and sustained effort, much like the practices taught by the Stoics. These ancient philosophers offer timeless insights that can anchor a modern approach to building a responsive mindset. One essential strategy is cultivating self-awareness, a cornerstone of Stoic thought. The Stoics stress the importance of introspection, understanding one's own thoughts and motivations. In today's context, this means developing a sharp awareness of your mental and emotional states. When you can recognize your thoughts and feelings as they arise, you are better equipped to manage them effectively. This awareness forms a crucial first step toward choosing a wiser, more reasoned response. Next is the practice of pausing, a simple yet powerful technique. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, often spoke of the space between stimulus and response, the space where our freedom to choose lies. By cultivating a habit of pausing, even for just a few seconds, you give yourself room to step away from impulsive reactions. That pause might be filled with a deep breath, a quiet moment of reflection, or a brief grounding practice. In that space, you can ask yourself, what does virtue demand in this moment? What response aligns with my higher self? Another transformative strategy is reframing perspective, a technique Stoics use to maintain equanimity during hardship. Reframing involves consciously choosing to view a situation from a different angle, one that reduces its emotional grip and reveals new, more constructive paths forward. For example, rather than seeing a difficult work situation as a threat, you might reframe it as an opportunity to grow and demonstrate resilience. This shift in narrative reshapes your emotional response and expands your options for thoughtful action. Lastly, the Stoics strongly advocated focusing on what is within our control and releasing what is not. This mindset frees us from the anxiety of trying to change the unchangeable and brings our attention back to our thoughts, actions, and choices, the things that truly define our character. By embracing these Stoic strategies, self-awareness, pausing, reframing, and focusing on control, we can train our minds to respond with intention. In doing so, we become calmer, more deliberate, and more aligned with our highest values in every area of life. Imagine waking up every day with a crystal-clear sense of purpose, not swayed by setbacks, unfazed by the chaos around you, and relentlessly focused on what truly matters. It sounds almost superhuman, doesn't it? Yet, this was the everyday reality for one of the most powerful men in ancient history, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher. His personal notes, a collection that has survived millennia, aren't just the musings of a bygone era. They are startlingly relevant advice on how to harness the power of self-discipline amidst the noise of life. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of Stoicism, exploring its principles not as abstract concepts, but as practical tools for living a more disciplined and fulfilled life. Stoicism teaches us how to turn adversity into advantage, emotional turmoil into tranquility, and life's unpredictability into a wellspring of strength. Whether you're struggling with daily stresses, seeking inner peace, or looking to elevate your productivity, understanding the Stoic way of life offers profound insights. In a world brimming with endless distractions and instant gratification, Stoic philosophy grounds us in the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. It's about more than just enduring life. It's about thriving in it, no matter what comes your way. So, if you're ready to transform how you view and handle life's challenges, stay tuned as we unpack the powerful, life-altering teachings of Marcus Aurelius and how they can be applied to cultivate a robust, disciplined life today. As we embark on this journey through Stoic philosophy and the timeless wisdom of Aurelius, if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple favor I'll ask is to hit the subscribe button. Also, don't skip any part of the video, because if you're here, you're different from the majority. Consider yourself an exception, and stay tuned for the unique insights we'll explore together. At the heart of Marcus Aurelius' philosophy is a belief that self-discipline begins with finding your purpose. But what does it really mean to find your purpose? It's about discovering what truly matters to you, what drives you at your core, and aligning your daily actions with that deeper calling. Marcus often wrote about living in agreement with nature, which in Stoic terms means understanding your role in the larger scheme of things and acting in harmony with your virtues. For Aurelius, purpose wasn't just a lofty ideal but a practical compass that guided his every decision, from the mundane to the monumental. He believed that understanding one's purpose is what pushes you out of bed in the morning, ready to face the challenges of the day. It's what keeps you steadfast when temptations try to lead you astray. And it's not about grandiose achievements or external accolades. It's about fulfilling the duties life has laid out for you, performing each task with commitment and integrity. In today's world, finding your purpose can feel overwhelming. We're surrounded by endless choices and distractions that pull us away from our true path. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes essential. Stoicism teaches us to peel back the layers of superficial desires and fleeting emotions to reveal what is truly essential for our well-being and growth. It encourages us to ask, what is truly worth my time and energy? How can my actions today contribute to the greater good and to my personal development? As we explore how to apply this principle in our own lives, think about what you're naturally drawn to, where you find deep satisfaction, or what challenges you're motivated to solve. These are clues to your purpose. And once identified, the Stoic practice of daily reflection becomes invaluable. By continuously aligning your actions with your purpose, by saying no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does, you cultivate the self-discipline necessary to live a meaningful and impactful life. Let's take this insight from Marcus Aurelius and apply it daily. Ask yourself each morning, what am I meant to do today? And each evening, have I lived true to my purpose? Over time, this simple practice will not only build self-discipline, but also transform your life into a more purposeful and fulfilling journey. When Marcus Aurelius wrote about self-discipline, a recurring theme in his reflections was the importance of relying on oneself. Count on yourself is not just about self-reliance. It's an integral part of Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes personal accountability and independence. This isn't about isolation or rejecting help from others. Rather, it's about recognizing that the ultimate responsibility for our actions, reactions, and personal growth rests within us. In Stoicism, the idea of focusing on what is within our control is paramount. Aurelius often discussed the power of the self in confronting whatever challenges life throws our way. By counting on ourselves, we tap into our inner resilience and strength. This principle teaches us to trust our ability to navigate through life's uncertainties and adversities, not through arrogance, but through competence and a deep understanding of our own capacities and virtues. This kind of self-reliance is both liberating and daunting. In today's interconnected world, where opinions and advice are constantly available at our fingertips, learning to listen to our inner voice can be difficult. However, Stoicism encourages us to filter out the noise and trust in our reasoned judgment. Aurelius believed this internal guidance, rooted in virtue and reason, was the most reliable counsel one could have. By developing this trust in ourselves, we gain true autonomy in our decision-making, allowing us to act in alignment with our principles rather than being swayed by external pressures or fleeting emotions. And that autonomy, it's crucial for living a life of purpose, resilience, and unshakable discipline. For maintaining personal integrity and living a life that is true to oneself, learning to count on ourselves is essential. But how do we begin? It starts with small, intentional steps, making commitments and keeping them, setting personal goals and working towards them independently, and taking time to reflect on whether our decisions align with our core values. Over time, these simple practices strengthen our self-discipline, making us more resilient and grounded when facing life's challenges. Marcus Aurelius frequently emphasized the power of persistence, of showing up not just in body, but in spirit every single day. For him, discipline wasn't built through sporadic monumental efforts, but through quiet, steady dedication to daily tasks. Showing up every day was synonymous with living in accordance with nature. Nature, to Aurelius, didn't ask us to merely exist. It demanded that we actively participate in life, contribute through our actions, and engage with our duties, no matter how routine they seemed. Each day was a new arena, not for grand battles, but for proving one's commitment to principle and purpose. In today's world, filled with distractions and fleeting motivation, the idea of showing up every day carries even greater weight. It's easy to feel inspired one moment and completely adrift the next. Stoicism reminds us that it's not intensity, but consistency that builds true discipline. That doesn't mean every day has to be a masterpiece of productivity. It simply means we don't let a day slip by unnoticed or unused. Whether we aim to grow in our careers, improve our health, or nurture our relationships, progress comes from one small but crucial decision: to show up. This practice is deeply connected to mindfulness, being fully present and doing today's work today, without being burdened by the past or anxious about the future. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the power of focusing on the present, of doing each task to the best of one's ability. This daily presence is what transforms effort into growth. To begin cultivating this discipline, start small. Define what showing up means to you. It might be writing one paragraph of that book you've been avoiding, doing a 5-minute workout, or spending 10 mindful minutes with someone you love. The scale doesn't matter. It's the act itself that transforms us. Each day you fulfill your commitment. You strengthen your willpower and build the resilience that defines Stoic philosophy. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of personal responsibility and continuous self-improvement. You become a living testament to the truth that, while we cannot always control outcomes, we can always control our efforts. And in the simple act of showing up, we discover the discipline necessary to lead a purposeful, fulfilling life. This Stoic discipline, as strongly advocated by Marcus Aurelius, isn't about making life harder just for the sake of it. It's about preparing for life's unpredictabilities, building mental resilience, and fostering a deeper appreciation for what we have. Marcus, like many Stoics, believed in the practice of voluntary discomfort, a way of strengthening the mind for times when discomfort is no longer a choice. This could mean foregoing small luxuries, embracing physical challenges, or practicing self-denial in ordinary moments. The reasoning is clear. If we grow accustomed to difficulty, we won't be easily shaken when life delivers real hardship. It's like training your resilience muscles so that you can meet adversity with calm and clarity. But why embrace discomfort in a world that constantly promotes ease and convenience? The answer lies at the heart of Stoic wisdom. True growth happens on the edge of comfort. When we voluntarily step into discomfort, we test and expand our mental and emotional limits. This isn't about punishment. It's about shifting our mindset. Comfort becomes something we can live without, not something we're enslaved to. In turn, this mindset breeds gratitude. When you occasionally live without life's everyday conveniences, you begin to appreciate them more deeply. Skipping a meal can heighten your appreciation for the food you do have. Walking instead of driving can renew your gratitude for health and mobility. Beyond personal growth, voluntary hardship connects us with the realities many others face daily. This fosters empathy, humility, and a deeper understanding of the world we live in, anchoring us in shared humanity rather than isolating us in privilege. To integrate this Stoic practice into your life, start small. Wake up an hour earlier. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Limit your screen time for a day. The key isn't in how difficult the challenge is, but in how regularly and intentionally you do it. Every act of voluntary discomfort is a step toward greater self-discipline and mental strength. Through these small, consistent efforts, we become more resilient, more grateful, and ultimately more capable of leading lives grounded in purpose and inner peace. This principle distinguishes between what is and isn't within our control, urging us to focus our energy solely on the former. Though seemingly simple, this concept can profoundly transform how we approach life's challenges, reducing anxiety and fostering a deeper sense of peace and resilience. So, what exactly is within our control? According to Stoicism, it's primarily our own actions, reactions, and judgments, our thoughts, our will, and our responses. These internal elements are where we have true agency. Everything external, be it the weather, the actions of others, or global events, lies outside our direct control. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized this in his meditations, noting that becoming upset over things beyond our control is not only futile but detrimental to our well-being. Practicing the dichotomy of control begins with this realization. While we may influence external events, we cannot control them entirely. The Stoic does not accept this passively, but as a liberating truth. By focusing on our own actions and letting go of attachment to outcomes, we preserve our tranquility and remain effective, regardless of circumstances. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to the world. Rather, we engage with it more wisely, channeling our efforts where they can make a real difference. In daily life, applying this principle means asking, is this within my control? Before reacting to any situation. If the answer is no, the Stoic path is to let it go and move on. This, of course, requires ongoing mindfulness and regular reminders of what truly lies within our sphere of influence. The dichotomy of control also reshapes how we set goals and manage expectations. While we may strive to achieve great things, tying our self-worth or happiness to the achievement of outcomes, especially those relying on external factors, sets us up for disappointment. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to find satisfaction in the pursuit itself, in our alignment with our values, and in the quality of our effort. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers never promised a life free from hardship. What they offered was a method for preserving inner peace and dignity through life's ups and downs. By living this principle, we not only improve our own lives, but also inspire others through our calm and resilient example. At its core, the Stoic teaching is about personal responsibility and a deep commitment to self-mastery. It rejects the victim mentality, the belief that we are helpless recipients of life's hardships. Instead, it invites us to seize control over our perceptions and reactions. This is a central tenet of Stoic thought, that our peace of mind and happiness are shaped more by our inner world than by external events. The point isn't to deny the pain or injustice we might experience, but to shift our focus from what happens to us to how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius believed that every external event presents a choice. How will we allow this to define us? By refusing to play the victim, we reject the notion that our emotional well-being is at the mercy of circumstance. This realization is deeply empowering. It opens the door to personal growth and genuine resilience. To practice this mindset, we begin by noticing how we habitually respond to difficulties. Do we look for someone to blame? Do we fixate on what's wrong instead of what can be done? Changing these patterns doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means understanding them more deeply and redirecting our energy more constructively. It's about acknowledging pain and disappointment while also recognizing our power to move forward. Furthermore, the Stoic principle urges us to see obstacles as opportunities, to practice virtue and strengthen character. Each hardship becomes a chance to demonstrate courage, patience, and perseverance. This proactive mindset transforms moments of helplessness into moments of choice, where we assert our agency and live in alignment with our values. By refusing to play the victim, we embody emotional independence, the Stoic ideal of building an inner fortress of calm and clarity. This doesn't mean being emotionless or indifferent, but rather reaching a place where our peace isn't constantly disrupted by life's turbulence. From this grounded state, we can engage with the world more fully and freely. In doing so, we no longer live at the mercy of our circumstances, but in harmony with our highest principles. Marcus Aurelius championed this principle not only as a personal discipline, but also as a pathway to deeper freedom and fulfillment. In the Stoic view, mastering one's impulses through delayed gratification isn't about rejecting pleasure, but about seeking a higher, more meaningful kind of satisfaction, one aligned with long-term values and goals. Delayed gratification, in this context, means strategically postponing immediate desires in order to attain more enduring rewards. It's about making conscious choices that may not offer instant pleasure, but lead to lasting well-being and personal development. This principle is especially relevant in our modern culture of instant gratification, where the ability to wait for something better is increasingly rare. For Stoics like Aurelius, delaying gratification was also a matter of self-mastery. He believed that becoming enslaved to fleeting pleasures results in a loss of freedom, where one's desires control them rather than the other way around. True autonomy, in the Stoic sense, comes not from indulging every whim, but from having the strength to choose what serves us in the long run. By practicing delayed gratification, we strengthen our willpower, sharpen our focus, and move closer to the kind of life that is not only productive, but deeply meaningful. Rather than yielding to whims and impulses, the Stoic path encourages us to exercise restraint and make choices grounded in reason and foresight. This conscious decision-making cultivates a life not just filled with fleeting pleasures, but rooted in lasting tranquility and contentment. Implementing delayed gratification in everyday life can begin with simple habits. Saving money instead of spending impulsively, choosing a healthy meal over fast food, or dedicating time to study or skill development rather than opting for immediate leisure. Each of these small decisions reinforces the Stoic principle of prioritizing long-term benefits over short-term comfort. And the advantages are far-reaching. Modern psychological research supports the Stoic view, linking the ability to delay gratification to better outcomes in career, education, health, and relationships. Individuals who can resist immediate temptations tend to handle stress better, reach their goals more consistently, and live healthier, more fulfilling lives. This concept also extends beyond resisting impulse or ignoring negative feedback. It's about cultivating a mental resilience that keeps us steadfast in our convictions even when faced with doubt, criticism, or skepticism. For Stoics, The approval or disapproval of others lies outside our control and, therefore, should never be the foundation for our self-worth or guidance. Marcus Aurelius frequently wrote about this, urging focus only on our own actions and inner judgments. True peace, he believed, comes from within, not from the opinions of others. This Stoic indifference isn't about being dismissive. It's about developing an internal locus of control, allowing us to filter out noise that doesn't serve our growth or align with our values. In today's hyperconnected world, where opinions and judgments are constantly at our fingertips, ignoring naysayers is more vital than ever. This means distinguishing between constructive feedback, which can aid growth, and baseless criticism, which only distracts. Stoicism encourages us to examine the source and intent behind criticism. Is it informed? Is it well-meaning? Does it align with our principles? Practicing this discernment builds a personal philosophy strong enough to withstand external pressures. It cultivates confidence, not born of ego, but of clarity in our values and direction. This mindset, practiced daily by Marcus Aurelius, not only protected his mental space as a ruler, but also helped him stay grounded as a person committed to virtue. Ignoring naysayers sharpens emotional resilience, reduces our reactivity to negativity, and helps us remain focused on our long-term vision. In a culture that often feeds on social validation, the ability to break free from that cycle and stay true to oneself is both rare and transformative. Embracing the Stoic discipline means intentionally choosing where to invest our emotional energy. It's about guarding our inner dialogue from being drowned out by external noise and recommitting to the voice within, the one that truly shapes our life. This principle also ties into another key Stoic practice, learning by observing and emulating wise individuals. For the Stoics, wisdom was not merely theoretical knowledge, but practical guidance for living well, best understood by studying those who've lived virtuously. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the admirable traits of others, both his contemporaries and figures from history, and saw value in internalizing their strengths. Emulating others wasn't about mimicry. It was about drawing inspiration from their courage, discipline, and integrity to enhance one's own character and judgment. In Stoicism, choosing role models involves seeking out individuals who embody core virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These examples can be historical figures, current mentors, or even fictional characters who demonstrate resilience, ethical strength, and rational thought. The goal is to use their lives as roadmaps for navigating challenges with grace and determination. Applying this today means thoughtfully selecting role models whose values resonate with our aspirations, not just admiring them, but actively learning from how they make decisions, respond to adversity, and uphold their principles. This process bridges the gap between abstract philosophy and real-world application, showing us how Stoic virtues can be lived daily. It makes these ideals more tangible, more relatable, and ultimately, more compelling. When we see the positive effects of Stoic principles in the lives of those we admire, we're more likely to internalize and embody those principles ourselves. By surrounding ourselves with virtuous influences, we set higher standards for our own actions and decisions, propelling ourselves on a journey of continual growth and self-improvement. In doing so, we inch closer to becoming the wise individuals we once sought to emulate. This practice isn't merely about recounting events. It involves a profound and reflective examination of one's thoughts, actions, and responses throughout the day. It's about discerning whether these behaviors align with one's values and Stoic virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. This introspective process is crucial because it acts as a feedback loop, helping one become more conscious of their choices. For Stoics, the purpose of this daily review isn't to dwell on mistakes or indulge in self-criticism, but rather to observe and adjust, to learn from each day's experiences and use that insight to refine oneself continuously. Marcus Aurelius used this technique to ensure he was not only fulfilling his duties as an emperor, but also growing as a philosopher and a human being. Incorporating this practice into modern life can be deeply beneficial. It encourages us to end each day with a moment of quiet reflection, asking ourselves key questions. How did I respond to challenges today? Did I act according to my principles? What could I have done better? Were there moments where I lost control? And why? Reflecting on these questions helps develop greater self-awareness and guides us toward living a more deliberate and intentional life. Moreover, this habit can foster a sense of peace and closure at the end of each day by addressing lingering thoughts or stresses directly, rather than carrying them into tomorrow. In our fast-paced world, where distractions are constant. Such daily reflection helps us stay anchored to our deeper goals. By honestly reviewing your day, you engage in a form of self-accountability that is both gentle and rigorous. It's about recognizing your strengths while acknowledging areas for improvement without judgment. This Stoic habit builds resilience and wisdom, teaching you to be both student and teacher in your own journey, constantly learning from experience and striving to embody the virtues that define Stoicism. Over time, this practice can transform not only how you view your days, but how you live your life, aligning you more closely with the ideals you cherish. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of Stoicism and the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to master yourself and embrace the virtues that define a life well lived. If you're keen to dive deeper, check out one of the suggested videos on your screen. Your presence enriches our Stoic Journal community, and we're grateful for it. Until next time, keep living intentionally and wisely.